In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to display the list of all the registered users inside of the system. This is something that most of you have been requesting in the course. As I look at the Q&A section, most of you find it difficult to actually achieve this, so I'm going to be showing you how to do this. It's very easy actually. And it's something that I think you should be able to do if you just sit there and look at the code that we've written so far. So we're going to be having a new page called members. So when you click on that link, it's going to display the link to the profile of all the users that we have registered in the system. So if this is something that you want to learn how to do, sit back and let me show you how to do it. Step one, let's go over to our code editor. Going to create a new page. I'm going to just copy our current profile page and then rename it to members. I'm going to call this members. And then step two, I'm going to create another script here instead of partials. This should be pass members. All right, so let's go back to the members page and then change this to members. And then change this to pass members. Then the H1 here should be members. So we can say here login system members. All right, so a couple of changes that we need to do here. We need to get rid of this. This is going to be a public page, which means everyone can actually view this. And then I'm going to make it 12 columns. And then I'm just going to get rid of this and get rid of the table that we have here. All right, so we're going to get back to this file, but let's first of all go and write the functionality inside pass members. So inside of pass member here, we're going to create a try catch block. We're going to be caching a PDO exception. Store this in a variable called ES. And then we probably want to display an error if something went wrong. So we can actually grab that from one of the scripts that we have here previously. Right, so we can just paste it here. Okay, so we're going to write our query here to grab the record of all the registered users. So we're going to say statement should be equal to db query, and then we just pass in the SQL statement, select star from users. Okay, so that's the end of that statement. Next, let's create a variable to hold all the members. We call this members should be equal to statement. We're just going to fetch all. We're going to fetch all the records from the database using this method, and then we can define the style that we want to use to fetch. So we prefer to fetch this as an associative array. All right, so this is all we need to do to grab the record of all the registered users from the database. We grab all the record here. So essentially the query method, we prepare and execute this statement. So it's like doing both db prepare and db execute in one line. All right, so and then we are then fetching all of the record as an associative array and then passing it on to this variable called members. So if I just do a var dump now of members, so let's say var dump, or let's do it inside of the HTML. So we can come here, and then right here at the top, we're just going to say echo. Let's put this in pre-tags. Okay, so duplicate this. And then inside of here, I'll do a var dump of members. And then close this here. All right, so let's go over to headers.php and add a link to this page. So just going to change this to members.php and then change this to members. Right, so we can move it to the top here. Then the same thing here. After the profile, let's just put members. And then go over to the page now, do a refresh here. Okay, so we have that link here, members. When we click on it, we get this error and if unexpected end of line on line 19, members.php. Okay, so didn't delete this from here. Right now we get the array from the database. I only have one user registered in this system, and then it gives me the record for that particular user. So let's go ahead and register some more users. I'm going to just register some dummy users. So this will be example at yahoo.com. To copy this and use it again. Go this example and then put the password, then sign up. All right, so we're going to create another one. So this would be example 2, and then you can just call this demo 2 password. All right, so let's come over to the database, click on browse. We have 3 users. I'm just going to set the activation to 1 for them. If we want to still add more members, so we can copy any one of them like this, then just change the name to demo 3, example 3, then go. Okay, so you can do the same thing to get more records. Should be demo 4, and then we have demo 4, and then go. All right, so I think that is okay. Let's do a refresh now on this page. So we now have 4 records. So now what we want to do is to loop through this inside of the view, inside of our HTML. So right here, we're going to loop through that and then display it inside of this role. All right, so first thing we do here is to put our PHP script tag. So go PHP, then close the script tag. Here we are just going to check if the variable actually has a value. So we're going to check if the user record is not empty. That means we have some members in the database. So if count of members is actually greater than 0. Okay, so if count of member is greater than 0, we want to do from here until here, which is line 16 until line 18. Otherwise, we're going to create another PHP block here. I'm going to say S, and then inside of the S, we want to display a paragraph, say no member found. And then here we can then create our last PHP block here to say and if. All right, so first of all, we check if the variable members, which we are getting from past members, if the element inside of the array we are getting from past member is greater than 0, then we are going to do whatever we have before the else statement on line 15 here. We want to display all of the record from the database using Bootstrap media object. So you can do this whichever way you want to do. All right, so I'm just going to grab this. And then inside of here, we are going to loop through the members array. So we're going to say for each members as a single member. So for each member as a single member, and then we are going to end for each. So right here, we're going to say end for each. Okay, so for each members as a single member, we are going to create a column, and then the column will take 4 grids. So to make this easy, I'm going to use Bootstrap media object. We can quickly just do a search for that. Bootstrap media object. Okay, so let's have a look at this and see if we can grab the template. All right, so we can just grab the template from here. Then we are going to paste it here. So what we need to change now will be the avatar part. This should now be equal to member, because this is an array, so we can access the avatar. And then if you want to change the width, you can go ahead to change it here. All right, so but one more thing that I may want to do here is to wrap this inside of an A tag, so that when they click on it, we can actually redirect to a different page which we're going to create. So we're going to call this public profile.php. Okay, so we're going to redirect to this page when they click on the picture of the user. This will be the public profile page for that particular user. Okay, so here we need to say u equal to, be equal to the ID of the user. Let's say equals to, should be member, ID. All right, so we can probably use a shorthand here also. And then for the username, just grab this. Then instead of this here, we're going to paste this and then say username. So we also need to put a link here. Probably better to grab it here and then. So this is something we're going to think about how we need to do it. If we want to display something here like username. So let's say we want to display test here username. Okay, so then we move this to a new line. All right, so we close the A tag here. So what we're saying is username, and then we specify the username, but we want to make the actual name clickable. So if you want to specify any other information, you can just go ahead and specify them here. So let's say you want to specify the join date. Okay, so we can paste this here and then say join date. Probably need to edit this, so you can go to past profile and just get the date that we edited before. So we can take this and then paste it here. Just grab the variable and then replace this. Okay, so we're going to view this on the browser now. If everything works well, we should be able to have a listing of all the users in the database. Right, let's refresh. Okay, so we have a listing of all the users in the database. So if we click here now, it's not going to do anything because we don't have this page yet. We're going to get an error. Okay, so let's add the join date string here. Come over to the text editor and say join date. It all depends on what you want to display here and the record that you have created inside of your database. In the next lecture, we're now going to see how to write the functionality to display the profile of that particular user when you click on the link here on the avatar or on the username.